G'day guys, this is part 2 of the Xray XB2 Dirt Edition build series. Part 2, we are starting assembly, and interestingly enough, with the start of the assembly we are starting with the whole transmission. Now the reason being for that is when you get the Dirt Edition, I'm assuming with the Carpet Edition it'll be a little bit different, but with the Dirt Edition you get the ball diff pre-assembled. It's pre-assembled and ready to go. Before I get ahead of myself, in the instruction manual it does, the first step is to build the diff. Where did I put it? It's to build the diff. However, it's already pre-done, but if you go a page back, it shows you how to run in and break in the diff to let everything settle in, so read that. It also shows you how to set your slipper clutch as well, so read that as well. So we'll start with the transmission. While I'm thinking about it, I just need to reach back in here. I'm sorry if there's a bit of a tugging noise. This is my microphone here. I'll just get the box here. I need to get some ball bearings. So we'll just open this up. And what I will do is I usually have something to put this sort of stuff in, but like I said, it's been a while. Alright, so now when I did the unboxing I did say that it's either going to be a mid-motor mount transmission or a rear motor mount transmission. Quick correction on there. I was going on pre-production specifications on what it was going to be from what I heard on RC Tech. However, it would seem that it's still mid-motor setup. However, it's either a 4-gear transmission or a 3-gear transmission. So generally with your stock racing you'll want to go for the 3-gear transmission, and that's what I'm going to build. You can build the 4-gear transmission if you want, but in this case I'm doing the 3-gear transmission, and so it'll suit both stock and mod races. So we'll get ahead on with it. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to get more screws by the looks of things. Nope, my bad. Okay, so what we need is our transmission case. So this is what our case would be here, so it'll look like that. So what we need to do is, it says to put in the shafts into here, so that would be 3.2 in there. Okay, it's going to be a tight fit by the looks of things. So when you're going along watching these videos, you might see some things being chopped in and out, like what this will be here. It would appear that this is going to be a bit of a fight, so you'll probably see this bit edited out. Okay, so that one went in not a lot easier. So since I've edited out, I'm going to be editing out this fiddly bit here. This particular one was a bit fiddly to get in. This little pin here was quite easy. So I'll put this one in, just press it down, it's in. Alright, So now our next part is we'll need to, I've got some shims here, put one down onto there. Now we'll need to get our idler gear. Now looks like there's a particular orientation for the gears. Now, if you're looking, pay attention here. Is when you look at the idler gear, you'll notice that it's different from each side. So when you put it in, this side will go in on the pin like that. So that's what that shim was for. And so it sits nicely like that. Alright, so now the next part is to start. We need our idler, our slipper clutch shaft, and we will also need these triangular bits. Now the one with the closed side goes into here. Okay, so that needs a bearing. Now check the bearing, we see which one goes. Okay, so that will be that one there, so that goes there. This will go slide in. Yes, interesting setup how they've got that. Okay, now we'll put 3 screws through that. Now the same procedure again with the bearing. Make sure it's the right one. It's a very interesting setup that they have. So I had to press the transmission together just due to tight fit. Now we'll put the bearing on. Okay, so in case you're wondering what happened, is you got to take note of the orientation of this part here. The bearing goes on the outside and this section here goes in, faces in. And I had to, because it was a real tight fit here, I had to use my multi-grips to clamp that down and hold it together. So that's what this is. It's the top part of the transmission case. This is to help allow for easy diff access. So now what we do is we will attach the motor plate to the transmission case, and if you just give me a quick second, I will just lean across and I will get some thread lock. So when you're doing metal on metal parts, this stuff is what becomes important. And when you're doing it on here, just make sure you don't get any on the bearing, because that will stuff up your day. Alrighty, now take note of the orientation of the motor plate. Now there'll be some parts here where I use a power tip, just mainly for like long drives, because I have joint problems, but little bits like this, it will be fine. So you want it to end up looking a bit like that. Make sure that when you're doing this part here, make sure that the nuts don't, the screws don't protrude from the motor plate, because you don't want them to rub on the slipper clutch assembly. So now what our next part is to do is the slipper clutch. So what we do, well, first of all, what we will do is I will put these bolts through here. This will screw, this is actually going to be a point where I do use my power tip. So give me a quick second, folks. Alright, so those bolts just hold the transmission housing together. So now, sorry if I've got a bit of a tickle in my throat. So now what we'll do is we'll be doing the slipper assembly, and what we do now is you'll want to take note which main plate attaches first. So it'll be this one, and we will get our spur gear. Now the spur gear, this is a 81 tooth spur. So what we'll do first is we'll put our pad on, put the plate through. Now this is where it gets interesting now. So we have 2 extra plates because it's a 3 pad setup. So we'll put one in. Come on. Put the plate in. Then we'll put another pad on. Then we'll put a final plate on, and it will end up like that. I'm sorry if it doesn't end up. So now what we'll do is we will put the spring on and the nut. Make sure the washer goes on as well. What we'll do is I'll just put the nut on loosely, because then we'll set the clutch later. Alright, so we have the transmission, the lower part of the transmission. This will actually bolt onto the chassis. Then you put the rest of the transmission on top like this, so it's meant to be like an easy access. This whole comes off. This video will be edited pretty heavily, so we'll stay tuned for the next part, where we will continue on with last bit of the transmission and start of the suspension arms.